because there must be a balance between the two. If I stress something, don't think they wipe off any. That is why the church that does not have ilwimi without an eye, and the church now that does not have teaching without the church, you must have both. There must be a balance. There must be a teaching and also legal. Amen. Facebook or Instagram, yeah, Reverend PP, Umakoya, Dimlo, Lapa, relative this way, a celebrity church, and the corner Yan Dimlo. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Namhlanje into yami imfutshane gqitha because nangomso I have another day. It do not live yet. Ungaphumi okwangoku. Acts number 27 from verse 20. So ifunda nje yona yodwa le endiyenzoskota because I must just 20 to 36. In Zenzo 27 from 20 from verse 20 to 36. Bishop Mark uyafika uvele ushumayela ufundisa uMark uyafika abantu because banilapha. Akakayi nasendlini uthe Bishop because you are here let me come. Let me come. That is why you must not look down with association. Yeah. That is why my son, you are wise. You are very wise. Even to recognize me before everybody. Because kukhona izibusiso ongeke uzithole ungena association nohlobo oluthile labantu. Uyabona ukuthi uzalwa ngubani? Bani uyihlo? Who is your father? Some of the things you must not pray for, you just have to connect yourself to your father. Unyana kaObama kondawo akudingwa nesipho. Uma vele unyana kaObama nje kuyavuma. Sazuyihlo sazona abantu basilapha khona wena. Sazuyihlo. Yafudumala kodwa ngizama ukuthi yafudumala. Njengoba silapha nje asisangabuwe. Size kuyihlo. Ngenxa yihlo sithanda nawe. Ngenxa kayihlo sithanda nabani?
Nawe.
Ngeke sikubulale ngenxa kayihlo hayi ngenxa yakho. Funa sikusikelele hayi ngenxa kayihlo. Because of your father then he will bless you. Do not listen to these fools who are fighting fatherhood and spiritual sons. Don't listen to those stupid people. They don't know anything. How do you separate the son? Now if your father dies, that means you are a spiritual orphan. Rubbish. Why must you take things like you don't know land or nyama? Put that up feel then about also what is wrong with you? And continue to recognize the one that died and honor the one that died and honor this one that God you could provide because that is why at least it must at least you have 10 fathers and 10 types of fathers and at least you can have 10. At least you can have 10 types of fathers. But then in the public, who knows that father-in-law? Father-in-law. And now when I live just now you're going now, at least you have 10. The one that adopts you is still your father, but you are adopted. Because God will always provide the father for you because God loves you. Psalm 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. You have another father. I'm but I also have my father-in-law. I have my biological, I have a father-in-law. Do you know what kind of even fathers in sin?
Yes,
you can even have a father. The person that father is looking to sin. About my family to try to what you say. I was also cheating in China. Because of Sundays, so you stop up for the father and the boom. We need to know father in sin. You know the father in the Lord. Father in the Lord, love Shumai. That is your father in the Lord. It's totally different from the spiritual father.
Oh, okay.
Father, that is your father. His father is in the Lord. Then somebody who's spiritual father must come now and nurture you. And then there's a father in ministry. God will send another father who's going to take you to ministry. That is the father of the ministry. That is your father. Father in your ministry. And then father, there's a father for the movement. charismatic movement, they are fathers for that. You see? Don't listen to these people who don't know anything. Don't listen to them. They are not right upstairs. Somebody has to nurture you, somebody has to protect you, somebody has to start something. The part of the church, look, now is this young man. Well, this thing, I don't like Nyama, it's a spiritual thing. He has started this church, obviously, is the father of the church. So, well, cool. You can be father of a certain thing. Is the father of Liberty Church. He might not be a father of Lilies of Venice, but he's the father of this one.
Lily of Venice.
I might not be an apostle to you, but to my children I am.
Bishop.
To you I'm a small boy, but to my own children I'm a father. Also I'm a father. I'm a father. I'm up against me. This is my son. Amen. You can tell. On the pig nothing to him. At least you can have 10. At least 10.
Okay.
Accept this one as your father. Accept this one as your
Father.
No, I just want to I want to treat him as a father. And you can clean something. I have another father now, Bishop Dakeward Mills is my father. We don't drink coffee. I don't have to drink coffee with him. It's a spiritual thing. Why must I drink coffee with him? For what? Spiritual is better than physical.
Okay.
Better. One of the guys.
Okay, then.
One of the guys who called himself an apostle somewhere. And then what again? Because I understand that I'm an apostle, therefore nobody has to be above me. I have a greater anointing. Then we are charged again with an apostle. This guy, he was a friend of my friend. And champion market wasn't a niece. And I'm capable, he's an apostle, is anointed. Okay, they tell because then you boy, I don't want to get and then our phone is watching other Mapambil. One can see simply, but Magazo Silas and they are practicing now. He's an apostle. And then was smiling, and he said, all my stories are true. Very true. At least you can trust me. I'm 19 years in the ministry. At least you can trust me.
Okay.
I've seen a lot. Was a chatisa. Did you know for what now? For the Muya and Musora was Shumai and I'm an apostle, therefore I don't know Shumai and I'm demon cool. I feel tandas, I feel the long fast, the fan of Kupa ring, ashes is dead up and open the bus. Well, obviously, such a beautiful office, emotionally, because we have to check. That is why now, because I have pastors under me. Before you become a pastor in my church, we check your brain.
Okay, then.
I can an IQ test.
Okay.
Check, are you fine upstairs? Before part of you're not fine. That's the same ministry that's powerful because you are not fine. You're supposed to be taken to a doctor and then they will fix you. And then come back and then continue the ministry. No problem. For example, some small boy somewhere who is somebody in jungle, by prophetic and mental, I have transformed this dog now to be the body of Christ. I mean, that prophetic, because I'm a prophet myself. How do you support such a ministry? How can you change a dog meat and this is the body of Christ and begin now to give people to eat in Yamayenja? Common sense. Obviously, this boy has power, but mine balance the head. There's no wisdom.
Eh,
We don't doubt the man is anointed. He really can do wonders. We don't doubt, but we doubt his head. Power. Okay. Jesus Christ, the power and the wisdom of God. Jesus Christ, the power and the wisdom. There must be a balance between power and wisdom. Often those who speak of wisdom, you ought to have been a man. School principal. When the miracles you are,
Oh.
but also to have power without wisdom. Christ. Jesus grew in wisdom, stature, power, and he had favor with God and had favor with people. He grew. Wawena unamandla kuphela udila umlilo yonke imihla udila umlilo yonke imihla okanye usesikolweni yonke imihla lento le idinga umthandazo wena ufaka isikolo
Oh.
lento idinga isikolo ufaka umthandazo.
Okay.
There is no balance. There must be balance. You see, Jesus, the power and the wisdom of God. That is why must have the offices. Out! Because le nto ifuna umkhuleko ifuna umlilo le ifuna ingqondo ifana nokuba uvela uthanda into ofuna mhlambe sitya mhlambe kubiyena ke sitya umfundisi ufuna ukumthandazela thatha lo mama usemamfundisi amfundisi bakuhlanjwa kanjani izitya phela kanjani ungaphekela amanzi ukudla umfaka uyena wakho upheka kanjani ebhodweni. Don't pray for the person, check the person bamfundisi amfundisi ukuthi iphekela kanjani indoda amfundise cooking skills, not prayer. Mase kuthanda baye uza nokudla sithanda sithandaza sithi fasting abeza nokudla okudla okuphezulu khaba lo plate leyo iyathandaza idemon understand idemon ukupheka kamandla understand umthandazo. Masifunde iverse yethu because don't live yet. Do not live yet. Masifunde in Acts. Ungofunda akwazi ukufunda kakuhle. Don't worry about my verbosity. I'm a condiment. Sometimes I'm very confrontational. Don't think that in the angry. I'm not angry. I'm just fixing what I'm fixing. Acts 27, 20 to 36. That's the only scripture in the end that's called Thyself. Asikayifanele project sasuyifaka uma khona project le class sasifaka naso. Yes, that's
number 27, verse number 20.
You are looking very smart. You, I love it. We need such in the church. People who are handsome, who are fine, who are powerful. You can wear color coordination.
Jesus.
Yes, my brother.
Acts number 20, chapter number 27, verse number 20. We are reading from the NLT version.
Thank you.
The terrible storm raged for many days, blotting out the sun and the stars, until at last all hope was gone. Verse number 21. No one had eaten for a long time. Finally, Paul called the crew together and said, "Men, you should have listened to me in the first place and not left Crete. You would have avoided all this damage and loss. But take courage. None of you will lose your lives."
Note that one. None of you will lose your life.
"Even though the ship will go down."
Even though the ship will
go down.
Yes, continue.
"For last night, an angel of God to whom I belong and whom I serve stood beside me, and he said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul, for you will surely stand trial before Caesar.'"
Note that you will surely stand your trial before Caesar. You will surely. Yes.
"What's more, God in his goodness has granted safety to everyone sailing with you."
God has granted safety to everyone who's sailing with you. Wonke umuntu ohamba nawe ngcongo is safe. God has granted safety to everyone that will sail with you. Yeah.
"So take courage, for I believe God. In it will be just as he said, but we will be shipwrecked on an island.
Izophuka kodwa mna weLusemba. Izophuka. Kodwa sonke will be very safe.
Verse number 27. About midnight on the 14th night of the storm, as we were being driven across the Sea of Adria, the sailors sensed land was near. Verse number 28. They dropped a weighted line and found the water was 120 feet deep. But a little later, they measured again and found it was only 90 feet deep. At this rate, they were afraid we would soon be driven against the rocks along the shore. So they threw 4 anchors from the back of the ship and prayed for daylight. Verse number 30. Then the sailors tried to abandon the ship. They lowered the lifeboat as though they were going to put the anchors from the front of the ship. Verse number 31. But Paul said, the commanding officer and the soldiers, you will all die unless the sailors stay aboard. Verse number 32. So the soldiers cut the ropes to the lifeboat and let it drift away. Just as the day was dawning, Paul urged everyone to eat. You have been so worried that you haven't touched food for 2 weeks, he said. Please eat something now for your own good. For not a hair of your head will perish.
Not even a hair of your head will perish. Yes.
Then he took some bread, gave thanks to God before them all, and broke off a piece and ate it. Verse number 36. Then everyone was encouraged and began to eat.
They were encouraged. Yes.
All 276 of us who were on board, after eating, the crew lightened the ship further by throwing the cargo of wheat overboard. Verse number 39. When morning dawned, they didn't recognize the coastline, but they saw a bay with a beach and wondered if they could get to the shore by running the ship aground. Verse number 40. So they cut off the anchors and left them in the sea. Then they lowered the rudders, raised the foresail, and headed